When I wake up that morning, I realize that I'm alone on the bed. I sit up quickly, only to see Hieronymous sitting at his desk, writing a letter. There is a cup of tea next to him, as well as a half-finished piece of toast, and for a moment, I'm almost willing to believe that we were still on Christmas break, and the past few months had all been one horrible dream. Until I see Hieronymus's hand shake, and he has to put the quill down as he massages his palm with his thumb and forefinger. Hieronymus, are you all right? I ask as I sit up. I'm all right, Tori, he says, but his voice almost sounds annoyed. I quickly kneel down beside him as I take his hand, kissing the backs of his knuckles as I massage his hand for him. He strokes my cheek and smooths back my hair with his other hand, and I can't help but smile softly as I kiss his knuckles again. Does that feel better? I ask as I release his hand, and he opens and closes his fist a few times. I think so, he replies. Thank you. If you need help with something, you should have woken me up, I tell him, although my voice is much firmer than I meant it to be. You seemed exhausted, Hieronymus notes. You needed your sleep. Besides, I am just trying to write a letter. I pause for a moment as I look him over. To who? My father, Hieronymus replies, although I have to admit that I am frustrated that you won't divulge the details of the argument you two had that made him so reticent to assist us. We require his assistance, now more than ever. I can't suppress the bubble of white-hot rage that suddenly takes over me. I reach over him and snatch the letter off the desk. I don't even see what's written there. All I notice is that Hieronymus's handwriting, which had always been a smooth, fluent cursive, was now jilted and awkward, like a child learning to write with a crayon. I blink back tears as I hold the piece of paper in one hand and reduce it to embers with a single spell. Tori! Hieronymus scolds as he gets to his feet. That took me all morning to write. Hieronymus, I couldn't let you send that, I snap at him. If I told you right now that you had to make a choice between me or your father, who would you choose? You, of course, Hieronymus says with a sigh as he shakes his head. That's not even a question, but I need to know what happened. I brush my hair back out of my face. I'm not having this conversation with you right now. I should take a shower. I tuck my hair behind my ears as I disrobe, keenly aware that Hieronymus is watching me intently. As I glance over at him, I notice that he's wetting his lower lip with his tongue, just like he used to do when he wanted me. Did he still want me? I didn't feel wanted, but maybe that was the whole problem. Why are you looking at me like that? I ask as I turn to face him. I'm not wearing anything now, and we are both keenly aware of it. What are you doing? Hieronymus asks. I'm not doing anything, I say, spreading my hands by my sides. You're the one staring at me. You know how badly I want you, Hieronymus says, his voice low. Don't tease me, Tori. Not about this. I'm not teasing you. We stand there, just staring at each other, neither of us willing to be the one to break first. Finally, it's Hieronymus who speaks. And if I came over right now and kissed you, would you pull away? I guess you're just going to have to find out, I reply. Tori, Hieronymus growls, his voice at the height of frustration, and I just shake my head. You know what? Never mind, I say as I turn to go into the bathroom. Forget it. I'm going to go take a shower. I don't even realize that Hieronymus has crossed the room in 3 brisk strides before he sweeps me up in his arms, pulling me into him. He kisses me roughly, and I kiss him back with just as much intensity, running my hands through his hair as I pull his face closer to mine. I can't do this, Hieronymus says suddenly as he pulls away. I can't do this just to watch you pull away. Is that the real reason? I demand. I don't want to say it. I don't even want to think it. But it's there, in my head, and suddenly I have a desperate need to confront it. Real reason? Hieronymus repeats blankly. What are you talking about? Is that the reason you don't want to touch me? I ask. Or are you just upset that I'm not her? I think I can catch at least 5 different emotions cross Hieronymus's face in the space of a single second. He steps forward as he places his hands on either side of my head, but he's squeezing me, and to be honest, it kind of hurts. Never say that again, Hieronymus says darkly, the emotion thick in his voice. You will never, ever say that again. You will never even think it. Have I made myself clear? I open and close my mouth a few times, too stunned to speak. Instead, I just nod my head up and down in a quick series of short little nods. He shakes his head as if he's disgusted with me before he steps away, and I reach out and grab his hand before I even realize what I'm doing. Hieronymus. He stops and turns back to me, but I don't know what to say. I don't know how to ask him to keep going. I don't know how to tell him that I can close my eyes and remember the way he used to run his fingertips over my skin. I don't know how to tell him that I still want him as badly as he wants me. I don't know if it will fix things between us, but it felt like the only thing I hadn't tried. He takes a step closer to me, lowering his lips for mine, silently asking for permission. I reach my lips up to brush against his before I pull away slowly. His lips chase mine, brushing his upper lip against my bottom one, and I can't help but let out a soft exhale of need. Do you really want to do this? Hieronymus asks quietly, some untold emotion playing behind his dark eyes. In answer, I just hold my hand out against his chest and use a spell to teleport the clothes off his body. He had done it to me many, many times, but I had never really done it to him. We are naked in front of each other now, for literally the first time in months, and Hieronymus doesn't waste any time as he kisses me desperately. I kiss him back, and we just stand there, making out like teenagers for I don't know how long, before he picks me up and puts me on the edge of the bed. So I think everyone can already tell that this is not safe for work from here on out for the rest of the chapter. This is basically the end of the chapter. I know there were some awkward spots in the previous story back to the top where the not safe for work was in the middle of the chapter and then the story went on beneath it. So I wrap things up here so that we can, end the chapter here. If you want to read the not safe for work bits, as always, the link below for the archive of our own link where the story is posted, where you could read the story in its entirety is there. And the end of this chapter, so I can read the very, very end. I love you, I say suddenly, and as Hieronymus stills, I can feel his smile as his lips stay poised against my outer thigh. I love you too.